Hey guys, Chris Jenkins here, and in this video I'd like to talk to you about one of my biggest regrets in my sort of musical career, my time playing drums, and this is a huge one. This is something that initially I did hold a lot of regret over because it could have led to so many opportunities, and there are so many examples of people who did the same thing but stuck to it and got a lot of good results from it. So I'll get into it. I started a YouTube channel basically about a year into my drumming. Again, I've been playing for about 12 years and I started this channel called Why Not Drum. My plan was just to upload drum covers. You know, every day I was always just playing and practicing to my favorite songs from my favorite bands, and I thought, why not record them and upload them? Now, this was back when obviously YouTube wasn't near as saturated. You know, I loved watching drum covers myself, and I thought, you know what, that's something I could do. I was already playing, practicing to songs that I loved, bands that I loved, and some of them being very popular songs as well. So I thought, why not upload them? And I would post them on my Facebook as well, and friends would comment on them and start making requests. And that sort of built this momentum where I was like, oh, okay, people are actually interested. And more than that, it was just a way for me to document my own playing. And I kind of maybe narcissistically enjoyed watching my own videos, but also more for the sake of tracking my progress and seeing the things that I did right, the things that I did wrong, and it was just always a good way for me to reflect. And I think I've made a video on this, why I think you should record videos of yourself playing, whether you post them online or not. There's tons of benefits, and I definitely reaped a lot of benefits from doing that. But anyway, so I was uploading pretty consistently because I was playing drums every day. I have for a long time. And it just started with, because I knew very little about editing and how to incorporate songs with the actual drum recording, or even how to record my drums. I played an electric kit back then, the Roland TD9. So what I would do is literally just add the song over my playing and delete the audio, or I don't think I even had audio again because I didn't know how to record my drums. So it was quite literally just the song playing and me kind of air drumming in a sense to it, because you couldn't hear my playing. But obviously as time progressed, the videos got better, the production got better. I learned how to record my videos. I never did the MIDI recording. I just had a Roland 09, I believe it was. It was a Roland recorder that plugged straight into the module, and I was able to just record the audio. So super easy. I would just double tap record, play the song, and just edit it after in like iMovie. Eventually I got Final Cut Pro, and so this became a very easy way for me to go about recording my playing and uploading it. And once I started getting some views and feedback more so, that was just very encouraging, and it really, I think, helped push me in the right direction. And just it made practicing so much more fun because I was already practicing and I loved playing drums, but to then also receive feedback and encouragement and comments was obviously also nice as well. So I continued uploading videos for several years. As you can see, there's a lot of change, transformation. I had the long hair back then, and I was typically into playing rock metal music, and my skills improved. Again, this is what I was saying about being able to track your playing and your progress. It was really cool to see the kinds of songs that I was starting to play, ones that I definitely had struggled with, but then after maybe half a year or a year, then I was playing songs that I had aspired to play beforehand. So that was also such a cool part of it. Now, as this continued, again, I was playing a lot of double pedal, a lot of metal type music. I decided to record this video with my new Tama Speed Cobras that I got. I was really stoked with them. I was still getting used to them. I just put together a video of some foot camera angles of me playing the double pedal. I was pretty alright at double pedal back then, but it was nothing special. In fact, honestly, it was one of my least sort of proud videos, probably because there wasn't music over it as well. I think it was one of the first videos, if not the first video I uploaded, where it was just me playing. So that kind of held me quite accountable, and you could hear all my mistakes and errors. But nevertheless, the video was all right, but I put it online, and sure enough, I can't remember how long it took, but I think even within the first few months, it just started blowing up. And to this point in time, I believe it's somewhere close to around 1.5 million views. And this is going to play into why I really regret what I regret. Now, before I mention the biggest regret, after this video did really well, I had a bunch of other covers that also did pretty well, some with a few 100,000 views, and varying in between. And more than the views alone, I had people that I would talk with, people that were interested and invested in my videos and the playing. So I had a lot of support, again, on top of the viewership. Now, it's important to note that this was also a time, I'm sure you can remember, where YouTube wasn't as saturated. So that was probably another reason I was able to do so well viewership-wise. But nevertheless, my regret was that I discontinued. During this time, all these years of me recording the videos, I was just obsessed, and always have been since, with playing and practicing drums, but I never had much of a social life because of it. It was something I dedicated probably between 3 to 7 hours every day to, whether that was at school and just at home. I was just always playing, always consuming drum content, videos, lessons, etc. And around this time, towards the end of my channel, that's when I began to socialize, had a really solid friendship group. I started experiencing new things, all the kinds of things teenagers get up to, that sort of thing. And it was a great time in my life, but the channel slipped, and I just sort of fell off with the uploading and recording videos. I was still practicing, but a bit less, and again, just not really putting in the same amount of effort into recording videos. I think this is also a period in time where I knew I loved drums more than anything else, but career-wise, I was still quite unsure. I didn't know if it was practical and things along those lines. So sure enough, that also played into why I sort of discontinued uploading videos. Now, fast forward a couple years, I had moved to Holland and I started the Instagram thing. Now, I always thought that because looking back on my channel, I had a lot of views, it's something I could easily pick back up and a lot of those views would sort of come back. This was not the case, and only more so as time went on, because as you know, like YouTube, a lot of social media only becomes more and more saturated. There became so many more content creators. It just became a lot more saturated, which made it so much harder to pick back up. And so I tried doing that, as you can see here, with some newer videos. And sure enough, it was literally like starting from ground zero again. This was extremely demotivating and it just caused a lot of regret at that time. Now, when I say regret, again, it's not something that I've dwelled on, but when I look back on it, if I could go back in time, it's something I wouldn't have stopped, because I'm sure you know of YouTube drummers, perhaps like Luke Holland, not to compare myself to him, but to me, he was always a drummer that I could sort of gauge my progress with. I mean, I think he was always doing better in terms of views, but I remember starting around the same time he did, and before he really blew up with his big covers, like I think it was the Skrillex cover of Cinema and things like that. And it's not to say that I was even going to have the exact same progress as him. Obviously, he has his own thing, proper videographer and studio production, etc. I don't mean that in a salty way, but just as a reality check, that who's to say that I would have progress the same way he did. But my point is that there were drummers that around that time stayed consistent and actually were able to make careers out of it pretty early on, because again, it was so much less saturated. So that was also what kind of got me down at the time back a few years ago, when I had tried restarting it and realized it was basically like starting from ground zero again. And yeah, that kind of sucked. And again, if I could go back in time, I would have definitely continued with that channel, because I have thought, where could I have been by now? You know, I definitely got requests, whether it was to be in people's bands or do recordings for them. But again, back then I was mostly just playing on an electric kit. I didn't really have access to studios and proper recording software and microphones and all that. I didn't really know much. I was just a kid who loved playing drums, loved playing music, and just documented it essentially. So especially knowing how, you know, crucial branding is and social media is in this day and age, if you want to be successful as a musician or even someone who's self-employed, something along those lines, then it's just a lot of opportunity cost. But again, this is not something I dwell on ever, or at least I haven't for a long time. It is what it is, and was one of the biggest learning experiences. And if anything, I think because of this experience, it's what really played into me getting into the Instagram thing. Again, somewhat early on. I probably started about 3 years ago. I believe maybe around 2017. Actually, let me check. Okay, so I actually have my log of when I started, around the time I started my Instagram, and I had tracked my follower count. So I kind of missed out in the first few months because I remember the first few hundred followers were really difficult to reach. But I reached 600 followers by September 2017. So I basically started close to the beginning of 2017. And again, because I think I experienced so much regret from not continuing that, I didn't want to make that same mistake again. And I just stuck to the Instagram thing. And I'm glad I did, because I'm at a point where I have gotten some awesome opportunities through Instagram. And again, it's maybe not what it could have been had I stuck to the first channel. But it is, again, it is what it is. You learn from your mistakes. Created a lot of awesome relationships, and even been able to talk to some of my idols on there. As you guys know, social media is awesome for that. And so, you know, if there's anything you can learn from my regret, is if you are currently planning on being a full-time musician, or you want to really chase that dream goal that you have, and it involves recording, documenting your progress and process and journey, stick to it. I mean, obviously, if you decide that you want a career change or something, that's completely understandable. It can be a lot of work, and it's something you have to maintain. I always equate it to sort of being the seed that you have to water almost every day. And again, knowing the algorithm now, like with YouTube, you have to be uploading pretty consistently and really engage with your supporters and followers. So please do stick to it if you are going about the same sort of endeavor. Obviously, you need time off, you need breaks, but if you're very serious about your goal and you understand the importance of social media, again, especially in this day and age, then just stick to it. You will get there eventually, or most likely. So yeah, I don't, it's not something I dwell on, but it's almost funny to think maybe where I could have been. It's sort of just like a remnant of the past now, and it's still cool, and actually really cool to me that I can look back at that channel and see the progress, you know, right in front of me in video form, kinds of songs, the music I was into back then. It's essentially just a time capsule. I think that alone is a really cool reason to have that. But that's just me personally. I don't know, you guys can let me know what you think. Maybe you have a similar story where you really kept up at something and you sort of just fell off and left it, and then looking back, you really wish you had continued. If you have any sort of experience like that as well, please do share it in the comments. I'd love to just discuss that sort of thing with you guys. It's, again, quite funny to look back on now, but yeah, it's definitely been an opportunity cost for me and one of the biggest learning experiences. So same goes for this YouTube channel. Currently, I genuinely do not plan on stopping unless, yeah, no, actually I don't have an unless. We're gonna stick to this. Same with my Instagram, I've been consistent with it for like 2-3 years now, and I don't plan on stopping. So if you enjoyed this video, if you laughed at my mistake, or just thought it was cool to look back on the old me, especially with the long hair and all that good stuff, drop the video a like, give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to see more video. More content will be coming soon. I'm always asking for suggestions on what kind of video topics and things you'd like me to talk about. So if you have anything like that you'd like to just hear me speak about, then please comment below. If you'd like to see daily content and more clips of me actually playing the drums, then you can head over to my Instagram. It's chrisjenkinsdrums, and I post essentially daily content on there. But yeah, until then, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. And